In this episode of Motive Garage presented by Sparesbox, we see if some upgraded tyres can make our Nissan Z faster around the circuit. In our last episode of Motive Garage with our Nissan Z, we took it out to London Raceway to see how well it performed on track with a few basic upgrades. Now, if you took note of that video, you would have heard that it actually has coilovers in it that are designed more for street and drag racing. Very good riding, very comfortable on the road. It squats, it puts powers down, so it's not optimum for the circuit, but it is still better than factory. Now, the biggest problem we had with the Z, mostly from a driving feel, which then affects lap times, is understeer on the way in and oversteer on the way out. And both of those things can be fixed with one simple thing: grip. So if we throw a tyre at this car, will it get a lot faster and we can tame the thing down? So our friends from Zestino Tyres Australia have given us a set of their Gredge 07 RS, the 140 treadwear option, which we've had great success with in the past. We've also upped the tyre size from a 255 to a 275 on the front and from a 275 to a 295 on the rear. So we have more rubber on the ground, we have a softer tyre with more grip. Let's see what it does. Let's go. First up, a baseline. I've just come back from 2 sessions in the Nissan Z and got myself a repeatable lap time of 56.1 seconds. Now, what's interesting about that is when I tried to drive it slow and smooth and it basically felt slow, the lap time was the same as pushing hard and trying, well, basically to overdrive it. So you kind of underdrive it, overdrive it, or in the middle, and it still came out as a 56.1. Driving characteristic-wise, the Bridgestone Potenza S007, it's a 240 treadwear, so it should be better than that. But I think it's the weight of the car and probably the soft spring rates that we have in this thing, due to it being more of a drag/street setup, that's making it feel like the tyre probably isn't as good as we think. But honestly, weight of the car and how well the chassis uses it really is everything. So what's the driving dynamics like on these factory tyres with the setup that we have? Well, it gets high speed oversteer on the way into the corner. It gets plough understeer at low speeds into the corner, and then basically oversteer out of every single corner. Basically with 320 kilowatts at the hubs, rear wheel drive, yeah, traction is an issue. So what I'm hoping is that the Zestino Gredge 07 RS with 140 treadwear and a larger tyre can tame some of those issues. Would it be better with a better wheel alignment? Yes, dramatically better, probably not. So I'm hoping the new tyre can tame some of that high speed understeer and obviously corner exit oversteer. So yeah, I'm really hoping that it will give me more confidence with this tyre, not just quicker lap times. Let's get them on, let's go. Well, back from the first session on the new Zestino Gredge 07 RS, and they did exactly what I thought they would do. Made the car faster. How much faster is the first thing you want to know? Well, we went from a 56.1 to a 55.0, and that's with only 2 laps. Why only 2 laps? Well, unfortunately, that's all the Nissan Z will let us do back to back before oil and water temps skyrocket and it just becomes unsafe. So I only get 2 laps at a time. So we'll go out again and see if we can go into the 54s with the Zestinos on there, but it is getting hotter today, so it's very hard to get that, juggling that correct. In terms of balance and feel, look, it didn't change the balance of the car. All of its tendencies that it had on the factory tyre, it still has them, it just has them at higher speeds. So if you drove this thing like, you know, a bit harder than before, feels mint. But if you start driving to 10/10 and overdrive it, it still has the high speed oversteer on corner entry, low speed plough understeer, and then oversteer on exit that probably needs to be tamed down with different suspension and alignment. Are we going to do that? Not sure yet, but right now, let's get some more laps in, see if we can go quicker. Back from the second session now in our Nissan Z with the Zestino Gredge 07 RS on the car. I'm quicker. That's what you guys want to know, right? How much quicker? Well, that was a 54.4. We started off at 56.1, we got to 55.0 in the first session with new tyres, and now we're into the 54s. And I'm actually consistently in there. So pretty much every flying lap was either between a 54.4 and a 54.6. So I'm pretty happy with that time overall. Now there's 3 factors towards that time making this car quicker. Firstly, I'm getting more time in the car, so I'm getting quicker. But a very important thing to consider is a better tyre giving me more confidence is allowing me to explore the limits and get better in the car. And obviously the tyre itself is making me quicker. How much of each of those is responsible for that 1.7 second lap time? Hard to say. You'd have to get a pro driver in back to back, but with temperatures changing, the track changing and learning the car, it may not be a 100% perfect test, but at the end of the day, it's the same driver, the same car on the same day, and we were 1.7 seconds quicker, and we were actually able to go from sort of low 56 to mid 54s consistently. So overall, I'd say it's a pretty good success for the Zestino Gredge 07 RS, which is their 140 treadwear tyre. Most importantly though, the best thing it does do with this car is I wasn't very confident with the factory tyres on there. It was moving around a little bit too much. So with these on there, I've got more confidence in the car. It made it a little bit more fun. It hasn't gotten rid of some of its tendencies of what the chassis balance has right now. But if we want to fix those things, they're not tyre related, they are setup related. And the big question from here is, do we want to take away some street ability in return for better lap times, or do we want sort of the all-rounder that we have right now? That's the big question. We'll answer that later though, but right now, tyre test, approved.